Things are starting to heat up as we're going to run down the weekly current events of wrestling news in our next segment, the hot tags. And the first topic to talk about this week, Tony Dawson released from WWE. Somebody that they were kind of grooming to be maybe like a Michael Cole-ish type of guy, or
Uh,
maybe a Matt Striker type of guy. Maybe that's why he got released.
I had to wonder for a second. I'm like, Tony Dawson. Why does that name sound so familiar? Yeah, the NXT guy.
And the story behind it, supposedly by Scoop Scoop Scoops, is that he was a nice guy, but he really just didn't care about wrestling. Which, if that's the case, then sometimes you have to do that with people. Otherwise, they're just going to leave for something else. Todd Grisham left eventually to go to arguably a better job with ESPN. And if Tony Dawson was kind of like looking for a jumping point like that, sometimes you got to get rid of those people. But
Well, that's what you get for for specifically looking for people that don't know anything about wrestling.
yeah,
That's
true.
always been their forte. They specifically look for guys that don't know anything about wrestling so they can teach them what they want to know. That's always been the case. I mean, you hear about the horror stories of how announcers are treated in the WWE. It's no wonder that somebody would want to leave or just not have it in them to want to continue, you know.
Hmm. Well, Renee Young is getting some pretty good reviews. Supposedly that she seems to be really into wrestling and doing a pretty good job. So
As
maybe
announcing.
announcer, interviewer, backstage segment host, all
She's
that kind of stuff.
a constant part of the JBL and Michael Cole show podcast, and she's pretty good on there.
Hmm.
I'm not surprised if she has a future.
Yeah, I would
I
be
still
surprised if she wasn't an actual commentator maybe at some point. They need
I
to get a
think
woman in the commentary booth, I think, at some point.
I believe they've been testing her out as a commentator. She's been doing some commentary for the NXT tapings.
Yeah.
I still say one of my favorite commentators, not favorites, but a guy that I want to see this guy on the main roster, and that's Byron Saxton. I thought he did pretty good in his run at the end of ECW. I wouldn't mind seeing him in that chair.
I'm kind of 50-50 on Byron. He showed me some good stuff, but I wouldn't put a lot of stock in him.
He stood out for me in terms of when I saw the some of the seasons of NXT that he was on. He was the one that stood out the most. I think he's got way more charisma in him. He's doing a lot for the backstage stuff with them. So I mean, if he can get a facet in there, more power to him. But I think a guy like him deserves at least a shot on the main roster.
I tell you who could have been a cool commentator if he didn't have problems that got him fired.
AW,
Abraham Washington.
I
Uh,
completely agree. Especially if
uh,
he had Tony Atlas.
I think he was great as a manager, but I mean, all those years doing that awful TV show thing that burned me out on him. I'm sure he's talented, but they just introduced him on the wrong foot for me.
Well, there's another release in WWE, Christina Vargas, one of the NXT people that they were trying, but eh, you know, happens.
Slow news day, folks. Slow news day.
We're always trying to talk about all the different releases and everything.
Well, I've got two bits of big news that well, one thought piece and then another one a bit of a spoiler, but I'll let you finish your stuff off.
Well, there's one other situation regarding a former WWE person that is coming into some problems. Duke the Dumpster Droese arrested for illegally selling pain medication to a police informant. So, you
Barry
know,
Darso?
if you need to take out the trash, you can't call Duke the Dumpster anymore.
Well,
Oh no, I thought. Oh, I'm sorry. I was mistaking Duke the Dumpster with Repo Man. Never mind. Yeah, Repo Man is Barry Darso.
Yeah, so what do you guys think about Duke the Dumpster? We're gonna find him in the next group of people that are going to rehab, or
Yeah, he's gonna be going to the accountability crib. I'm shocked that hasn't been turned into a reality show. That no one has partnered with DDP to do like some type of
uh,
reality series. Because that
it already is. It's called like Page's Penthouse or some shit like that.
is it on TV or is it just his YouTube channel?
It's on his YouTube channel, I believe.
Yeah,
Or
that
no,
doesn't.
I think it's on a paid membership on his website. Is what it is.
I'm saying like a VH1. Why VH1 has not partnered with Diamond Dallas Page to put the accountability crib on their channel. I mean, that's money right there. I mean, Scott Hall, you got Jake Roberts on there.
Because they already had China in the, what was it, the
Celebrity Rehab.
something life or whatever.
Surreal Life.
Surreal Life. They already had her on there, so now they're scared off.
Yeah, we start seeing people like Sunny on there, although she might be. No, she's going to be the special season.
Whole season dedicated just to her.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's how you do it. You get 26 episodes, you devote them to one superstar, and then the final episode is the new star coming in, and then that leads into the next season. It's genius. It writes itself.
And then for Sunny, she just keeps coming back.
Yeah, she just keeps making repeat appearances.
So what's the news that you want to try to bring into the hot tags here?
All right, first one is a thought piece that I wanted to get your thoughts on. I don't know if you guys have been following the situation with the G4 network. For those of you who are, and this is going to lead into wrestling, so don't worry. For those of you who aren't unaware,
Certainly not going to lead into a Fanboys podcast episode. Ooh.
not going to let that go, folks.
No, I am not.
But anyway, for those of you who aren't unaware, a bit of a lead up. About a year ago, G4 announced that they were switching over to a new channel. They were getting rid of all their programming, and they were going to bring in new programming and go under the banner of the Esquire network. Now, there's a bit of a wrestling connection to this in that before Esquire got the rights to G4, WWE had put in a bid because they were going to use the G4 network as the launching ground for the WWE network. I believe UFC also made a bid. This was before their Fox deal had gone through. So, like, the Esquire network was going to debut in September, this September. And what happened is, for some reason, NBC Universal decided to switch the Esquire channel over to their Style network and leave G4 by itself. And so G4 right now is basically just a shell channel. I mean, all they do is just show reruns of, like, Star Trek: The Next Generation and American Ninja Warrior. So what I've been thinking about is, I want to get you guys' thoughts. Do you think Vince should make a run for this? Do you think he should try again and maybe try to buy up the property, since it's just basically a shell company and NBC Universal said they're not going to do anything with it, and finally get this WWE network off the ground?
Well, for those who do follow Fanboys Anonymous, Travis Goss, one of our members, he wrote up a piece that's on the website, because website hasn't been taken down yet.
Yet.
Yeah, exactly. About how on October 10th, if I'm remembering correctly, it might be a different date though, they're going to stop actually broadcasting, period, in Connecticut, out of all places.
I read the notice that was put on there, the one that was sent to Cablevision. If it was the case where they were going to take the channel off all over the place completely, it probably would be more reported on as such. I haven't seen anything else about this. If I were to guess, it might either be that they're not going to air it in Connecticut, or it might just be that Cablevision is dropping out completely of the network, because this isn't the first network that's done that. One of the reasons why they wanted to switch over G4 to Esquire was because G4 lost DirecTV. It was no longer picked up on theirs anymore, so they lost a good chunk. I mean, right now it's only in about 50% of homes right now, the actual channel itself. So it might at most be that Cablevision itself is just dropping it. Until G4 actually announces that they're going under, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions.
It might not, but if that is any indication of what might come and they end up just having a blank slot, then WWE probably should. They probably should take that.
I mean, how long has it been that WWE's promised the network would be up? I think they said that
Forever.
WrestleMania 29 or 28 it was going
28.
to debut. Yeah, 28.
WrestleMania 10.
Yeah, it was gonna be an over-the-air UHF channel.
Is there going to be XFL on this channel?
I hope so, or else I overpaid too much for it.
There's going to be that bodybuilding championship.
The World Bodybuilding Federation. But yeah, they've been wanting to get this network off the ground for years, and I've heard they wanted to go pay TV, and that's always a dice roll. I mean, you never know if people are actually going to adopt that channel as a pay TV. But I mean, G4 is already in 50% of the of homes, so that's a pretty solid jump off point. It's not desirable, but it's a great start. All right. So we're all in agreement that they should?
Yeah.
Why not?
All right, and this next one's a bit of a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear about what's going to happen on the 10:03 episode of Impact Wrestling, cover your ears.
I don't think people want to know about it from the spoiler. I think they just don't want to know about TNA.
No, this is important because apparently in storyline, Hulk Hogan has quit TNA. There's a segment at the end of the 10:03 episode of Impact where Dixie invites Hogan to the ring, and they do a back and forth exchange of words, and Hogan basically ends it by quitting. Quits, walks out. I think the final bit is Dixie begging Hogan to not leave, and then roll credits. So it looks like in storyline they're writing Hulk Hogan out of TNA. His contract's coming up this month, guys. Do you think this is a sign that maybe Hogan's done? That he is pulling the plug on himself?
I think if anything, this is a sign that he might be re-signing. I think if he was leaving, that it would have been handled a lot more silently and not with a storyline thing like this.
Maybe not with Dixie begging him to come back too. If he was leaving, it might have been just like somebody beats him up, and then he's made to look weak. Most companies, they usually make people look weak when they're leaving, as opposed to like, please don't leave. You know.
Well,
Hogan also has creative control.
Yeah, he's got clout. He's not going to want to be pussied out by some second-rate company. He's going to be like, yeah, I'm bigger than you guys, brother. I don't need this. I quit.
He's like, I'm going to write myself off of TV by winning the TNA Championship.
Yeah.
Well, there was a picture going around that he was holding, or not holding, he was wearing a shirt that said, what, Hostamania?
Hostamania.
I thought that was one of his old LJN figures that just happened to be coded, to look real.
I was really hoping that it would say Pastamania instead.
The Thunder Mixer.
I'd like to see Hogan leave. I want to see him back in WWE. Not, as a member of the creative team or a wrestler or anything like that, but I just want to see him make casual performances here and there. I want to see him at WrestleMania 30.
Why does everyone think like if he came to WWE, it has to be in some kind of full-time capacity?
No,
he can't just come in on a Legends deal and just pop up once in a while.
Yeah, that's what I would want to see. He could be a Ric Flair, have him go to a symposium and fuck everything up.
Well, of course they're going to build up to him versus CM Punk. That's the money matchup right there. I like this Punk kid, brother. I think we need to prove that he's ready for the big time, though. He's got to go up against the Hulkster. But yeah, we were actually arguing this on yesterday's Keeping Kayfabe about what's best for TNA, and me and Bryan were kind of on the same page, but kind of not in terms of what needs to be done. I mean, that's a whole episode of Smark Out Moment in terms of what would be best for TNA. But yeah, it
bankruptcy.
Looks like... What?
Bankruptcy would be best.
No, I don't want to see TNA go under. Yeah, it's a poorly run company and probably deserves to go under, but I really don't want Vince to have the monopoly in terms of wrestling, and I don't see Ring of Honor being anything but a slightly better indie federation.
What is TNA?
A slightly more better indie federation. I mean, they've got...
It's apparently number one if you follow that one dude from that one podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
Whoever the fuck he was, I don't remember. We're not going to give him a shout out, whoever he was, a complete idiot. But but there's one other topic to talk about, which I just actually came across right about now, not that long ago. Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella are engaged, so congrats. Really not too much else to say about that, but I guess we'll all look forward to seeing that on Total Divas.
Which one is she the one with the implants or not?
No, she's the clean one.
The good one.
I guess that's something then.
All right, that'll wrap up the hot tags. We're going to take a little bit of a break for part 3, and then we're going to move on. Part 4, Grand Slam Champion Tournament.